Welcome once again to the Dissection Theatre podcast. I am SeraphHim.
This is Seam Stress, and we'll be covering episode 2 of Dragula Titans season 2.
So for this challenge in season 2, they will be doing... Well, I can't say it, because we'll likely be censored by YouTube.
I guess so.
I'll say it a few minutes in. But last episode, we actually didn't talk about the Boulet Brothers and their outfit.
Yeah.
Because it's very cool.
They were very intricate outfits. I really liked the color combinations that they had. They were very ornate, and they reminded me somewhat of stained glass.
Yes. And typically, just from what they've said about their own color palettes, they don't really diverge a lot from, like,
The red and black.
And red. And so, getting orange is very unique.
It's like when we got green a few times before.
Yes. With the, urinal cake hats.
Yep.
But, I love the lace on the collar is very cool. The bodice. You can just tell how well made it is. And the fabric just looks so soft and shiny. They have gloves.
I feel like these wigs fit very well with this outfit.
Yes, from time period era.
David Desmalchin was one of our guest judges for episode 1, and he was wearing some... He was stunning with some white eyeliner right under his waterline to make him slightly creepy. And the second guest judge was the current reigning queen of Dragula Titans, Victoria Elizabeth Black, with a very, very intricate wedding dress looking outfit.
Yes.
And hair up as though the Bride of Frankenstein. As a fan myself, I can recognize that sort of silhouette.
Apparently David Desmalchin and the Boulet brothers are actually friends in real life. Like outside of it. So it's nice to see more of like people they have a day-to-day interactions with. Getting into the show. We're 3 minutes in. We can't say the episode name yet. But they went to Neotropolis.
Yeah. It's pretty reminiscent of season 2's challenge, where they went to a very similar location. I would say it's probably the same location, just a different festival.
I also frequent listening to the Boulet Brothers podcast, and they talked about how they have not done on-location shoots as much as the seasons have gotten bigger, simply because it's harder to keep things under wrap and make sure that, things don't get leaked. And so when they were going there, one of the prompts that they had, even though they didn't directly discuss it during judging and stuff, was to dress both when you get there incognito, but also when you're on stage in the drag to not be recognizable, which is interesting because they didn't really talk about that.
My thoughts were that since it's in a very sandy place, they were just doing that because it felt necessary to cover their faces so they're not breathing in sand as much. I didn't know that, since I don't listen to the podcast this much, I didn't know it was to hide their identities.
Yeah. I like to listen to the podcast simply because, things don't make it in the edit, and it's fun to hear from the people who are making the show all of the secrets, the juicy details they did not share. Drama.
Yeah. A lot of drama that isn't directly talked about in the episode, that doesn't get a lot of light. There's 3 groups that form between competitors to talk about what happened last week, and everybody gives their thoughts and opinions. Cynthia's very angry. And I think...
mad.
Understandably so, but in my case, I feel like it's being taken more personal than it maybe was. So, but that's just my opinion. I'm not trying to minimize Cynthia's feelings on this.
I think she's just a more sensitive person like we saw with the season with JK in season 5, they got on each other's nerves a lot, and were kind of like doggedly at each other's throats for a little bit. Turn of events, now they're buddies.
Yeah.
Because Cynthia's mad at Blackberry and Jaharia. I love the line of like, she will get squished. I will squish Blackberry.
That Blackberry will get squished.
I think Cynthia isn't actually taking it as to heart as people think. Because, like, this is a girl that the first episode of season 5 was on the floor, like, wah! Like, playing it up, hamming up for the camera. I think she's just, like, doing it kind of on purpose to make good TV. There was the dragging of Dahlia.
Jade talks about how Dahlia supposedly, well, not supposedly, it's shown on camera, how Dahlia brings up the fact that she's been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and she says that you can't use that after losing an argument to gain sympathy points, blah, blah, blah. And then admits that, yes, she did that in her own season. And as I don't like the way Jade has been carrying herself this season. I think she's very cutthroat, and she can be very prickly. I don't think she's being very nice, for lack of a better explanation, and it feels unnecessary at times how hard she can go on certain people.
One, it's like, girl, you're not the only one with bipolar.
You're not the only bipolar person in the world.
Yeah, more than one person can have bipolar disorder, and obviously, like, being bipolar isn't an explanation away for, like, your actions or anything like that. But I think that, I don't know, I would rather people be real and say it and not feel the need to censor themselves, because sometimes people do use their diagnoses as, like, an explanation away for...
As a sort of shield.
Yeah.
Or excuse for their actions.
Also, there's the thing of, like, we're just been drinking so much, we don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they try to play it up of, like, oh, I guess Priscilla and I are just gonna go to the bar.
We're just gonna go to the bar and get hammered.
Yeah. If you need us, we'll be at the bar. And I don't have an issue with people drinking either. I think certainly Dahlia took it into her responsibility, made it her responsibility to kind of like keep people in check. And as a team, yeah, sure, you want your team to do well, but as an individual, if it's going to affect their performance, it's going to affect their performance, and it's not your responsibility.
Controversial opinion. If people are, doing something to impede their level to perform, just let them
fall.
Let them fall. Because if it's gonna be a hindrance to them, then really it's not your business. It's not your fault. And also, like, one thing I was thinking about is, in the queer community a lot, there is, a lot of alcohol, a lot of substance uses, and that kind of is part of the scene quite a bit. Not necessarily that it should be normalized, but I just think of it as, like, that's kind of part of it. A few people.
It's an undeniable part of the community, just as in any community, Not only... The queer community is not the only one that partakes in, the intake of alcohol and certain substances.
And also, I feel like if someone is copiously drinking and you're genuinely worried about them, then you should talk to those people. Because it's an interesting thing when, like, members of the cast are like, yeah, they're probably doing that. But then Sigourney coming in and being like, their rooms were checked for bottles. And that's just, like, there's a line being crossed here of, like, it's not your job or your responsibility.
You're not a staff member.
Chill out a little bit. My list. I did make a list this time to try and stay on track. other drama was Eva putting up Sigourney for extermination.
Yeah, the groups, especially the group that Eva was in, was talking about how Eva feels like it's right to have put Sigourney up for extermination. Yes, Sigourney's a hard hitter.
I thought it was stupid. I think, like, there's the whole talk of perhaps her trying to weaponize her fan base or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's one thing to actually say that's what you're gonna do, or say like, oh, the reaction to this will be this, and observing that, and then to actually threaten, like, I'm gonna tell my followers to do XYZ.
Yeah, because at some point during the quote-unquote private conversation that Eva and Sigourney were having, Eva mentions that she feels as though she has nothing left to lose, meaning in the competition for if she puts Sigourney up for extermination. And admittedly, yes, it's kind of a threatening tone that Sigourney uses where she's like, nothing left to lose? Are you sure? Mm-hmm. My interpretation of that was Sigourney was talking about her trust or her approachability as a friend in the competition. Like, Eva would still have that to lose if she chose to put Sigourney up for extermination. I did not at all interpret it as though she was insinuating weaponizing her fans in order to put Eva in any sort of precarious situation.
I didn't perceive it like that either. I honestly think that a lot of people, like, I see the way that Sigourney presents herself as a type of armor that she's had to wear because she is an AFAB drag performer. It's not because she genuinely thinks she's better than other people, but like, if other performers see you sweat or perceive you to be weak, they're gonna doggedly, like, talk shit about you. So that's what I thought. And also, it was very interesting that Eva was the one bringing it up the most. Mm-hmm. And Sigourney's like, fine. She's just like, whatever. This is part of the competition. I'm too busy puking out the side of the van. Because no Dramamine, unfortunately.
Yep. A very shaky van out in the desert of California.
Also, I was like, if Sigourney is someone who gets, like, knowingly gets motion sickness, why is she in the back? Why is she all the way in the back of the van? Because I also get motion sickness.
Should have advocated to be moved to the front.
Yeah, or, like, if someone else doesn't get motion sickness, like, give them your seat. You don't need to be in the front. They've done their thing, they've walked around, and now they are getting into groups to perform on the stage because this is actually the challenge called Monsters of Rock Cyber Pussy.
I think I can't remember for sure.
It is. Monsters of Rock.
They in this post they say cyber Monsters of Rock.
They say it in the post because it's like Instagram and stuff and censorship, but on the show they say cyber pussy.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
This is a fan favorite challenge and a Boulet Brothers favorite challenge that they've done time and time again. Not for every season, but most of them.
Famously, they didn't have this challenge on season 6.
It was a musical-based live singing challenge where the groups were all tasked with not only writing a song, also performing it live.
Yes. Which got, I would say, not the greatest reaction from the fans of Dragula.
I thought it was kind of silly because there wasn't that much background music or instruments, so it felt really small in comparison to every other challenge and every other Monsters of Rock challenge.
But this time they've definitely leaned more into the Monsters of Rock again, just because it was so sorely missed by everybody that they were like, fine, here you go, eat your food. When they're getting ready, Blackberry and Cynthia definitely get into it. Mostly Cynthia is getting into it towards Blackberry. And I would say that most people are like, can you tone it down a bit, Cynthia? Because people have said, like, Blackberry's been nothing but professional. She's polite to everybody. She's not really showing that she feels bad about making that decision because this is a competition and that sort of thing. And I feel like it's weird to me that the subject of Cynthia's ire right now is Blackberry the most.
But it seems that Jaharia and Cynthia seem to have a closer relationship than Cynthia did with Blackberry.
Mm-hmm.
I think all the teams are filled into the supposed pinky promise that Jaharia and Cynthia Doll had.
Mm-hmm.
And a few of our competitors have something to say about this sort of agreement between Cynthia and Jaharia.
Yeah. The pinky promise is a promise made by two adults that like to act like children. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting because personally I think like pinky promise, yeah, it's sort of like childish to make a pinky promise, but I also think it's pretty sweet to just be like pinky promise. I think it's cute. Also, another point as to why I think Cynthia is definitely playing it up is she's like, I can't work in these conditions.
She goes in the porta potty like she did in her own, like she was tasked to do by the Curse of the Porta Potty in season 5.
Very funny. Hamming it up for the camera.
I can't find the teams because I know they also had names. Each team had
well, shit.
We could just talk about individual looks.
Yes.
So for this challenge, there were very many variations of what our cast interprets to be monsters of rock, with a cyber twist to it.
It's maybe worth noting, or like when we're talking about the way that they all look, thinking about whether or not they're super recognizable or incognito, because there are definitely quite a few people who did not really implement that into their look. Who should we start with?
Well, in order, it starts with Jaharia. Jaharia, I would say, is pretty important to talk about because Jaharia was the winner of this challenge.
Yes.
And this is pretty important because she was the first person to win a Monsters of Rock challenge not being a lead singer or a team lead. Her look is, I would say, pretty Kiss inspired with the big hair and the makeup. I do like the construction of her metallic sort of crocodile leather bodysuit, all the electrical pieces and, motherboard chunks attached to the outfit. I think her performance was really good.
Yes.
In comparison to the rest, I would give this outfit a 6.
Really?
Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah. I think it's a good look. It's just, it could use more cyber elements that feel more put together. Because the arm is pretty much a morph suit arm with certain metallic pieces attached to it. The makeup is a pretty good makeup look, all things considered, but I don't really see the cyber in this makeup look.
Interesting. I really like this look, and I can see why Jaharia won this challenge in particular. Especially with going full force and like destroying the guitar that she made was a bold, badass move, very punk rock, very fun. I actually thought that the dress at first was made out of duct tape, which I was very excited by. And I almost wish that it was made out of duct tape more than a crocodile sort of fabric. But I also really loved that the mohawk was
very textured.
Yeah, a textured type of hair type. And I feel like you just don't really see a lot of that when it comes to people doing their alt looks.
But yeah, I would give this look a 6. What would you give it?
Girl, I don't know. I'm not gonna...
Okay, well, moving on.
I just like to talk about it. I'm not here to rank.
Next up was JK. Season 2 of Titans seems to have revitalized JK in a way I wish we would have seen for her own season. This look is very loud.
I like it.
I like the huge mohawk with the writing, the graffiti on it. All the orange is not a color I would expect from this sort of look and from JK, but I think they did a really good job at, putting this whole look together. I think JK's performance was also really strong and very energetic.
Very commanding of the stage, and from their critiques, he was really getting in the audience and like interacting with people, and that's very fun. My only thing is they didn't really wear the mohawk that much during the performance and also on the critique stage.
It is a really big headpiece to be carrying around, especially while performing. I could see how it'd be very cumbersome on stage.
The body paint application was really well done. I liked the illusion of abs because this was an ab plate. This wasn't
this is
their
chest
own
plate.
abs.
Yeah.
But like the sort of cautionary orange was very cool, and I liked how the wig was not super styled, so you can do the head banging.
I would give this look a 9. I think it's very cohesive, very well put together. I think it's not a 10 because this could be not cyber. Actually, I'm giving it an 8 because it's not cyber focused. It's a great look, but if I wasn't told that it's cyber, I wouldn't interpret that right away.
Interesting. I feel like it's pretty cyber. I feel like it has those kinds of like jackets that people wear on more electric kind of motorcycles, which to me has a more connotation to cyber. And also, it was just a lot of fun. I liked watching the performance.
To our next competitor, we have Abora. Abora. What a change she's done from her previous time on season 1 of Titans. At first, I couldn't tell who this was on stage because this is just a completely unrecognizable character. Until I remembered, Abora always does that nose for her looks. And I like the stilts, the long arms. I like how it looks very Wasteland scraps made. The shoulder pads with plushies, the metallic arms that at some point, for me, they went pretty under the rug until the judgment after the challenge. I didn't notice them until then, but I like all this detail that she's put into this look.
I also think it's kind of skewing to me a little hospital-y. Like with sort of asylum straight jackets, and even like on details on the stilts and stuff, they have little like screws and twists and stuff, which to me harkens back to really old type of medical equipment. And also there's hands on the top one, aren't they? Like on at the end of the arm stilts. That's really crazy to me.
It's very creepy, very commanding presence to have walking around the audience and on stage.
I have a controversial opinion. I feel like it's a very strong Abora look. But to me, I don't see a lot of cyber coming from it. There's like plushy on the shoulder. To me, I would say it's giving a lot more hospital than cyber necessarily.
I could see that. I could see how it's more wasteland, hospital focused and inspired rather than cyber. So I would give it also an 8. I liked how the stilts and the arm extensions gave her a sort of more commanding personality for this challenge.
Definitely a striking presence, which is, I think, a huge reason of why Abora was safe with a lot of other people.
Moving on with Blackberry. Blackberry's look is definitely cyber. I can understand how, her inspirations and the choices that she made for this look. Very recognizably a Blackberry look, for sure, with her, I would say, usual color palette of adding a lot of green.
Green, pink. I can definitely identify this look as cyber. I would say that, one, she was a drummer, and she was a great drummer last time, which is why I think she was a drummer this time. She was very okay, you're looking at me judgy because you're like, was she a great drummer? She was a great stage presence as a drummer last time. She, critiques she got from people were that their eye kept getting drawn to her, even though the drummer can get lost in the background sometimes.
I can concede with that. She had a very good stage presence last time and this time as well. But, fun fact, as a drummer myself, I see all the mistakes that people do in this challenge when they're assigned to be a drummer. Oh boy.
I would say that Blackberry was not that successful this time as a drummer, simply because part of the critique was the drumstick kept falling out of this big, almost like
power fist that she made for this look.
Almost like Mega Man fist that she made.
Which doesn't allow for a lot of agility when playing the drums. You need a lot of wrist movement when playing the drums, and a power fist that's just locked in a fist forever is not good for that at all. But I think this look is very fun. Definitely cyber. I can see all the little elements that she chose to include.
I would also say that, personally, I'm not a huge fan of, cone bra spiral. And that's just, a personal bias. But I feel like for how much detail was added to everything else, the hip pelvis area didn't really have a lot. And maybe that doesn't really matter because she was sitting down for the majority of the performance, so I don't think that would have been drawn to, attention-wise from the audience. But in terms of, full outfit-wise, I am kind of, I kind of wish I saw a little more in that.
I agree with your opinion on the, cone bra and stuff like that, but I do like that she definitely incorporated cyber things into it.
Yes.
All the cables, all the tubes to it. So it's not just any old cone bra.
I do like the metallicness of the cone bra.
I'd give Blackberry's look a 7. A solid 7.
I would say it's lower on the scale for me. I feel like it definitely reads cyber, but I feel like the hand part is a little too clean comparatively to other parts of being more busy. And also not having the full outfit have details on it. I would say that, it makes sense that she's safe, but I would say she wouldn't place near the top for me.
Our next competitor is one of my favorites.
Yeah, Morty. Just kidding, Rick.
Our next competitor is Rick Sanchez. Just kidding. It's Dissection, also very Kiss inspired with this sort of top heavy shoulder pads, shoulder spikes silhouette. Very blue, very metallic. Simply because it looks like the construction of these shoulder spikes is made with some technological materials is where I would get cyber from this look. But other than that, it's very hard to interpret cyber from this look.
Really? I felt like it was very cyber to me. It makes me think of like Metatron from... What is it? Undertale? Metatron from Undertale, and a little bit. And I don't know if this is the right reference or thing I'm thinking of, but I think of like J-Rock a little bit. And I think it was just really solid and cohesive with all the elements, like carrying the spikes from the shoulders to the sides of the arms to the boots and stuff, and the cool guitar thing. Very
sort
fun.
of weird bass, half bass body.
My only really critique would be that, yes, there's like blue in it, but I would say the wig blue doesn't really match like the silveriness, which it seems to be the most striking thing throughout it.
I think a more straight-haired wig would have worked better, even if it was the same shades of blue and gray that it has, if it was a longer and straight sort of wig.
I'm really liking the makeup, though, that Dissection does. And I feel like even though she still has that sort of trashy personality, like even just like outside of this look, the way that she does the makeup has evolved a lot. With the shading and with like the outlining and stuff. I like it.
I would give it a 5. Simply because of what I said, that it doesn't read as much cyber for me, except for all the metallic details and the construction of it. Next up is Dahlia Black, our most controversial, arguably, competitor so far.
I would say so far, probably. Well constructed, I have to say.
Very well made, well tailored. For her Judgment look, it was very funny that she chose not to wear the wig that she wore for the performance. I think I really liked how the wig balanced out the whole look, because otherwise it's very small and skinny. I think the wig added a lot of proportion to the whole silhouette. I think with this headpiece, it's very well made, and I like that. I like that Dahlia talked about making it herself, so she wanted to show it off. That's completely fair, but I think the wig would have. She should have kept the wig in order to help with the silhouette of this look.
I would also say that with the helmet, it reads a lot more armor, like you're going to war, some sort of cyber war, whereas having the hair kind of like added a different lens on that with the microveins and making it a little bit more organic, so it's not just like an armor look.
Yeah, because this whole challenge is cyberpunk based, and pretty important part of this is the punk aspect of it. A lot of wild hairstyles, torn clothes, and with the cyber comes all the metallic aspects and all the LED lights.
I would say I really don't have a lot of notes because I think that it's so well constructed. You have like little
tubes.
You have different patterns put on there that very much would read cyberpunk to me.
Yeah. With a good detail that I noticed in this look is some of the armor plates for this look have graffiti, which is another fun part of the whole cyberpunk aspect of this sort of environment. I think this is one of my favorite looks with the wig included. And for the challenge look, the performance, I think I would give that look a 9. Pretty strong 9.
Mm-hmm.
Next is Eva Destruction.
This one was probably one of my faves.
Yes.
You can really not tell at all that it is Eva. Which I feel like per the assignment, even though they didn't really stipulate that in the editing of the episode, very unrecognizable. And also very hot. I am scare-roused, I would say.
I think Eva's always made it a point with her drag to incorporate a lot of aspects of kink, which a lot of people would have differing opinions about, but I think it's definitely helpful for this look. It's a really strong, very powerful choice because this sort of animal print coat reminds me of like bimbo core and like pimp outfits.
Interesting. Yes.
Because she has this sort of gimp mask with head spikes and a sort of mohawk, but she still incorporates all the cyber aspects with her arms having been replaced by these robotic constructions with sharp fingers and cables protruding out of all of it. I'm very glad that she got rid of that bodysuit from her first Titan season.
Yes. And I would say, like, very creature-esque, I would almost. Like, the mask and the demeanor of the outfit very much give, like, transcendent from just human, if that makes sense. And I love all the spikes, and it's a very interesting amalgamation of different materials, and you can tell that Eva's been going to the gym. There's a 6-pack there. Good job.
Yeah. I like also, that Eva still...
Sorry, go ahead.
I like that Eva still makes it a point to show her hair, especially now since it's, for some reason, such a debate that humans have hair on their bodies. I think it's ridiculous to argue otherwise and be disgusted by hair. I think it's ridiculous.
We're not seals. We weren't made for the water. We need the hair. The hair is good for you. I also like the heels, because I feel like the heels sort of inflect a little bit of femininity, and I would say this character reads a lot more masculine until you see the heels. Very fun. Very cool.
I think this is also a strong 9, if not a 10.
I would say, like, it almost plays top for me.
Yeah. Next up is Cynthia. Talk about blue. Dabba-dee, dabba-die.
Dabba-dee, dabba-die. Hello, Star Wars. Are we playing, like, you know, in the... What is the club?
Are we playing at Jabba's palace?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we playing at Jabba's palace?
This look is very strange to me. I feel like the chest and crotch armor sections give fish. Not the fish you're used to. It's just very scaly. And in certain aspects, it's hard to read cyber from it all.
I feel like it definitely reads a lot of, like, space. Like bounty hunter. If you look closely on the instrument, there's like finger bones for the keyboard.
Yeah, the frets for the instrument are made out of bones, apparently.
I definitely think that this has a lot of detail and can read cyber, but I almost feel like this would be more suited for a space look.
Yeah, it gives more space / Star Wars bounty hunter.
Mm-hmm. Although arguably you could say like, well, in a cyberpunk futuristic society, could there not be aliens?
Maybe. I can't rule that out.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is simply because of how little coverage there is from the waist down. I think this is a 4 for me.
Oh. I'm confused by the long hair in the pelvis.
Mm-hmm.
Is this like a bush gone rogue? The bush is so long that we've done some styling.
Mm-hmm. I think if that's supposed to be the case, it's a missed opportunity to have incorporated some of that green hair into the headpiece, because there's a lot of wires and tubes, sort of reminiscent of cyber goth looks.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if that was the idea for this part of the outfit, there definitely should have been more of an incorporation of the green hair.
Mm-hmm. I would say top half, very strong to me. Shoes, very strong to me. The leg to like mid pelvis area, I feel like could have had something to tie it in, and I think that the hair was added there because there might have been some recognition of like, well, it kind of looks a little empty.
Yeah, it's very top heavy.
Yeah, it's very top heavy.
Next up is Sigourney Beaver. Is she hot?
Of
yes.
Course.
Is she a good performer? Yes. Is she giving cyber?
I don't know. Did she draw all of the cis men to her titties like moth to a flame? Yes.
Of course.
Of course, because there was actual lights happening with the pasties.
Her first look for the entrance into stage was really shocking in comparison to all her other teammates, because she is, fully clad in leather. So immediately I was having a really hard time reading cyber from it. I really like the wig. As I said, it's, crazy hair, plays really well into the punk aspect of it. The lights and all the electrical bits that she's added to her outfit, I think could have been more.
Yes. I think that it was a cool idea, because especially if your outfit is mostly leather, which very much goes into like the rockness of it all, but the outfit itself doesn't really have a lot of elements of cyber, so I feel like she did put more cyber on her physical body, on her skin, to kind of make up for that. But I would also say, like, it wasn't enough for me. I felt like there should have been a lot more details, and the things that she did add, like on her face and on like her chest, were really cool.
It definitely reminds me a lot of Cyberpunk 2077 with the sort of spreading digital parts of the human body, and like Detroit Become Human with the detail of her having more lights in the side of her face, but it's really weak when it comes to the cyber aspect of it. For the challenge, I think this is a 3.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry, Sigourney. I love you, but I don't think... I think there could have been more cyber aspects to the look.
I would say I would place it higher just because from the sounds of it and from the sounds of the critique, she performed it pretty well. And it was like sort of like the fan favorite of the crowds who were watching it.
She definitely brought a really strong performance, and I don't deny that.
I think that in some ways she could have made it more cyber by like maybe like make one of your arms cybernetic looking, or if you don't have like a lot of pieces, like prosthetic pieces, like draw more makeup. Use like a silver paint to draw more of those sort of like, what are they called? Are they just like cybernetic connections or whatever?
Yeah, cybernetic connections. on the actual skin. This is something you and I have talked about before in regards to Sigourney. She's very talented, very skilled, very strong performer, but for Dragula, it seems she can have a somewhat difficult time with being monstrous and filthy.
I would say specifically filthy. I feel like she doesn't really know how to grunge it up because her brand is very much poise.
Pageant.
I would say some pageant, a lot of glam, snatchedness, things like that. But even on her own season, when she was like, okay, I'm going to dirty up this clown outfit, it was like rubbing dirt from the floor onto the outfit, which is like, yes, this is method. I can see what you're trying to do. But it's still like, I want her to destroy an outfit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, and maybe it's hard to do that because it's like, well, I'm going to use this outside of the show, but like to really go there and make something tattered and weather worn and
really distressed and have a more imposing figure as a monster. I think something that could have been a really fun thing was, in contrast to her, you know, beauty and all her sex appeal with this outfit, to have a completely cybernetic face, like a skull of some kind that is made out of metal, to be the uncanny part of like, oh, she's missing her faceplate, but she's still really hot.
Yeah.
I think that would have dragged the look up so much more, and it would have been one of my favorites. Next up is La Zavaleta. This look is very confusing to me.
I am confused.
Yeah.
Okay. I like the leg. I like the painting of the hands and like adding of metallic details like that.
Multiple hands.
Multiple hands.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
At least 3 hands.
3 hands. So that's interesting.
I liked the performance part where they spray sort of a metallic paint on their mouths. This is a reference to Mad Max.
Yes.
I haven't seen that movie, but I know that they do that as a form of, you know, substance abuse. I think it was a very fun part of the performance.
Fun reference to tie in with the cybernetic era. I think the garment is confusing.
It's confusing. It absolutely gives Wasteland. I like the wig being a...
What is it?
It's sort of like a pointy / pinhead wig that's like done up, and it sort of drapes down like a palm tree. With the rest of the outfit, it does sort of have... I have an issue trying to tie it all together because the boots are metallic. There's half of a purple jacket. There's this big piece of cloth that she's waving around like a flag, or like a dress that's sort of metallic pink.
I would say it's very interesting. I'm definitely intrigued by it. That wig is like throwing me off. I would say maybe more green accents.
Yeah, I think
there's like green accents in the cape and the hair, but then not other
that's about
places.
it.
Yeah.
I think this, in addition to her performance, I think she kind of blended into the background somewhat, to the point where, we'll get into this later, but until she spoke up about some drama, I kind of forgot that she was there.
I would say that I was kind of disappointed by the performance, simply because there has been like kisses during the live performance for Monsters of Rock before, and I would say that I felt so much more chemistry as an audience member from Throb and Cynthia kissing than with Zavaleta. And I feel like they didn't, like, if you're gonna kiss someone on stage, You need to go for it.
You need to believe it yourself.
You need to believe that you are in love with the other person.
It's very surprising because Zavaletta's had experience with a Monsters of Rock challenge, and in her individual look, I believe she did a really good job.
Yes. And didn't she partnered with Saint during Nosferatu Beach Party?
She did.
That one was oozing sex appeal, right? They, like, bit each other's necks, and there was, like, blood and all that. And I'm just kind of like, I did not feel that from the kiss.
I think this garment was really overthought because it's very convoluted. And it's sort of like those images that are AI generated that are like, try to name one thing in this image. And you can't really pinpoint anything for sure. Mm-hmm. So I give it a 2.
It was pretty low for me. Which is unfortunate to say because I think like I look at the makeup and the makeup is great. The makeup is cunty. The eyebrows are small. The lips look voluptuous and like very kissable. But where is the kiss?
Yeah. I feel sad. I don't feel good about giving this review because Zavaleta, I find her presence in Dragula to be really important, especially as a queer Hispanic person in these trying times where it seems like they have such a target on their back. So I hope that she focuses more on what she wants to do and doesn't overthink her looks too much.
Yeah. I just know that Zava can show up more. And I'm really hoping and waiting for that to come through.
Next up, our next competitor is Priscilla Chambers. A common thing in this episode was a lot of people made props and pieces for their outfit that they didn't incorporate into their performance and they chose to bring into the judgment area of it. And Priscilla had this giant maze ball and a chain that I find to be really cool and would have made for a great gag during the performance. But she didn't choose to use it.
Yeah, it was very cool. And it's just kind of sad to see something get wasted when it could have elevated things. You know what I mean? Because I like the green accents, the helmet thing with a bunch of wires. She has another replica of her face on her belt.
Which I like because it plays into what I mentioned about Sigourney. I think if she had done something like that would have been very fun. But Priscilla has, a carbon copy of her face with the same makeup and all as a belt buckle, sort of. And I think that's really fun, really uncanny, and plays very well into the cyber aesthetic of, you can change your face, you can have multiple kinds if you have some sort of damage done to it.
I would say, I like this outfit, I like the latex, I like the boots, all of that. I would say, again, I feel like quite a few competitors this time around are not bringing in the accent colors into other parts of the outfit. And so I just have to say that again.
I do think that this look is pretty small. It's very top heavy with the headpiece kind of Piccolo adjacent. Or Mojo Jojo when he gets punched in the head.
Yes, it is.
So if she had brought all this technical stuff and computer parts to more areas of the outfit, I think it would have helped a lot more.
Yes. And I also feel like it's a little bit deceptive because in the pictures that they have for when they're photographing the outfits, she has the prop, but for the majority of the time we see her on screen, she doesn't have the prop. And so I feel like with having the prop in the picture, it's like, okay, it's balancing things a little more for something that would be top heavy, but that's not really how it was received by the audience.
I think this is a 4 just because it feels very small without the prop, and it's very top heavy because from the shoulders down, the exception of the face belt loop, it's it's a very small silhouette.
Mm-hmm. Next is Jade Jolie.
This is very, very, very confusing to me because it gives sort of raver girl, which I know is something that Jade has been said about Jade in the past. I don't get a lot of cyber from this.
I get raver girl who wandered into a paintball arena or just like came back from a rave to go paintballing / like we're also a monster. There's a face thing with teeth and horns, and then like it's just I would definitely say it's a bit confusing.
Yeah.
Purple boots. Huh?
Yeah. Another look that struggles with the accent colors. The boots are this very vibrant purple that seem to overpower the whole outfit because everything else is either black or a really light color.
I feel like a lot of the top half, it's like silvers and whites. And if you had some like really cunty cool white boots that you definitely put a lot of cybernetic accents on, it would have saved this outfit more.
I don't understand what the teeth and the double mouths on the face are about.
I don't know.
And according to her critiques and to the footage of her performance, it does seem like she was very stagnant, and you could see her thinking a lot about what she was doing on stage.
Yes.
This look is a 2 for me. It's very confusing. I don't know what the monster aspect to her face is. It's really small. It's very convoluted. It's not giving cyberpunk.
I would say in some ways, and people probably wouldn't draw this comparison, but the look and the way that there's like the strip down the middle and these branching things to the side, it almost makes me think of Fifth Element in a way.
I think if she had only this strappy bodysuit without the leggings and the armbands, I think it would have been a better look. The boots would have been less overpowering overall.
Yes.
But the leggings and the arm sleeves just kind of tie the center together, but the boots are really distracting when it comes to the whole look.
I would say like the thing that's the most confusing for me is the paint. The paint that was added.
Yeah.
Which also, if I remember correctly, she didn't have that on herself when she was on stage.
I
right?
Can't remember if she did.
I feel like she didn't. Or it wasn't as much. So I would say confused a bit.
Last but definitely not least is Loris.
Loris looked sick.
Yes, I am in love with the Liberty spikes, the sort of kooky scene makeup, and the pants. The pants are very, very cool.
They are decked out.
Yeah.
These are sick looking trip pants. They're very fun. And I would say I am definitely getting cyberpunk to this. Like, I would say it gives me cyberpunk more than some other competitors.
I'm undoubtedly getting punk from this. The Liberty spikes, the trip pants, all the plaid material that she's used into this look. I say that the only thing that makes it cyber for me is the arm. Loris incorporates a cybernetic arm to this look that I think really helps it sell as cyberpunk, but overall I think it's a really good construction of the outfit.
I would say it gives me a little bit more just because there's like shoulder pieces as well, and the guitar. Perhaps like she could have brought it a little more into the pants with putting like more cords and wires and stuff there. But I would say I was really impressed the way that she showed up with this look Yeah.
So those were all the looks from this episode. Now we can talk about what happened afterwards. So, all the competitors are given their critiques, and it's time to put some people up for extermination.
Mm-hmm. People who get put up for extermination. I think if I remember correctly, it was Jade, Priscilla, and Loris who were put up. Mm-hmm. Wasn't it?
Yes. I think they were definitely on the bottom, but Jade and Loris were the ones to walk the Staircase of Souls.
Mm-hmm. And I was surprised that it was Loris who fell through.
Yeah.
I felt like I would have chosen Loris to stay.
Yeah. I think between Jade and Loris brought the cyberpunk more to this challenge.
Her outfit was a lot more cohesive, I think.
Yep.
And understandable. And it feels mean to say that because, I don't know, I just feel kind of bad.
Mm-hmm. It was very weird for me to have every other competitor present for the extermination. Because normally, last time in Titans, I thought it was just, unless it was a lip sync challenge, it was just the two competitors that were up for extermination.
Yeah, they only really one time had people be out there for whoever was dropping in there, and it was when I think Abora got the final chop, where she was like, not coming back. Mm-hmm. And of course, you gotta get like the people who are in the triangle to cry for the camera.
Yeah.
Gotta be sad for the camera.
It's great TV, baby.
I guess that's all the comments. I do have some things that were a little funny to me, like Loris needs you to stop yelling so that she can work because she's overstimulated.
I wouldn't say that those are all the comments in regards to what happens in this episode, because in typical Boulet Brothers fashion, they do whatever the hell they want. So after this whole episode, we get this little scene of one of the Boulets going to a mortuary and opening these two freezer doors where we see Frankie Doom and Loris once again. And they say that they just, that they think that they went home a little too soon and that we're not done with them just yet.
Yes. Which is exciting. I'm very interested to see what that means. Because if you, have watched RuPaul's Drag Race at all, they have people come back. They have an opportunity to, try again.
Redeem themselves.
So I'm interested to see how that plays out. If they're going to do something kind of akin to that. And also, I forgot, we didn't really talk about the cauldron. We didn't talk about how Zavaleta was like, you're talking shit about me.
Mm-hmm. The cauldron again gets very messy. Mm-hmm. Surrounding, well, no, not really. Only until the very end of it, it surrounds Dahlia Black. Mm-hmm. But, what else happens in this cauldron?
Well, in the cauldron, we learn that Zava is taking ketamine.
I feel like there's more that happens prior to that, like between Loris and Priscilla, because as soon as they return and it's learned that Priscilla, Loris, and Jade are in the bottom, it seems that Priscilla and Jade become this sort of unit and start dogpiling on Loris for one reason or another.
She's not taking their shit this time, though.
No, she's not letting them speak over her, and she's very strong about speaking for herself.
I'm just, quickly interjecting. I'm impressed by Loris this season. I like her a lot more. And I would say I'm also impressed by JK. I feel like JK is being loved by the camera a little bit.
Yeah, because once this whole argument starts, it's clear Cynthia wants to give her 2 cents, but JK is like, let him have it, and this this is the first time that let him have it means shut up, let them battle it out.
I think like even JK almost gets in there and has a knife and is like, whoa, and Cynthia's like, no, let them fight each other, until Zava is like, and also Dahlia is talking shit about you, Cynthia. And then Cynthia's like, what the fuck? You're talking about me?
What did she say about me? What kind of stuff are you talking about me? And this is when Zavaleta reveals that the walls are very thin because she's learned that Dahlia is going to staff members and crew members to tell them about her ketamine prescription, because in New York, according to Zavaleta, ketamine is prescribed for depression, and so it seems that Dahlia didn't know that.
But then JK is a little shady and is like, well, it doesn't come in a bag, does it? For the prescription. So it's like, I don't know who to believe. I'm just going to watch it unfold and see what goes on.
I think this is Dahlia once again getting into other people's business when it wouldn't really affect her had she not. Because from my perspective, say that she goes to a crew member that is knowledgeable in all this stuff, and she tells this crew member, hey, I think Zavaleta's doing ketamine. And then this crew member says, yeah, she's taking that for depression. It's prescribed in New York for depression. Then you look kind of silly. You look like you're mean-spirited instead of having talked to this person that you're supposedly worried about.
I would definitely say that I feel like Dahlia needs to stay in her lane more this season. It's like, if you really just want to make cool shit as much as you say that you want to do that and show that, then why are you like choosing to focus on other people?
The more you stay on your lane, the faster you'll get to your destination.
And also, like, really the only reason people have it out for Dahlia this time around is because she keeps coming in swinging. Like, if you just kept quiet and did your thing, this wouldn't be happening.
Yeah. Every time I think about behavior like this where focusing on yourself gets you the furthest is season 3. Land Insider never really seemed to get into all these fights and discussions with other people, and it got him first place. It got him, the victory in their own season.
And even when he was like talking about how he thought that things that Hollow said were important, even though he wasn't as inflammatory, he wasn't like conceding and just being like, oh, I agree with you.
Yeah, because...
But did it in a way that where I think people often listen to someone who's the quietest in the room because it's like there's a little bit of reverence for somebody who can say important things without needing to raise their voice.
Yeah. I personally really like Hollow Eve as a performer, but nobody likes a woke scold. Nobody likes to get scolded by that one friend who's too woke.
That one friend where you're just like, we're in the club, I can barely hear you. I don't know what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, those are all the thoughts so far.
Season 2, especially of Titans for Dragula, is not the season where you want to come up with a really great idea and then completely scrap it because you thought it wouldn't work out.
Yes.
If it's very cohesive with your look, if you feel like it'll add something valuable to this look, you should absolutely keep it.
Or find, like, even if you wear a wig like Dahlia did, find a way to incorporate the helmet somehow. What, you've got like a mic in one hand, you have another hand, you can hold the helmet or something. I don't know. Any afterthoughts? Any things that you would like to share related to Boulet Brothers, or just like fun things that you've been liking?
Not that I can think of at the moment, actually.
There is the Smoochies album that came out from Ashniko.
Yeah, one of our favorite musicians, Ashniko, just premiered their latest album, Smoochies.
Mm. Oh, also, we didn't talk about the Boulet Brothers outfits again. Damn it.
Yeah.
They were very fun.
Sorry. Yes, they had somewhat two looks for this episode because it was the... I'm going to call it body double looks that they had out in the desert. This Tron-esque vibe with the full head helmets that conceal their faces completely. And then the wigs they had for Judgment I thought were really good, which we have seen these wigs before, which I like that they don't, phase out things super often.
I really liked it. My only critique is that the lighting inside of Neotropolis didn't really allow you to see the red accents they had all over and the paint job of what they were wearing. But I mean, we got to see it later, so I'm not too mad about that.
Yeah. A lot of leg for this look.
A lot of leg. Loving
Legs
the
for
leg.
days. I need these shoes, these pleasers that they're wearing for this outfit.
They are great. And I also like I am a little confused because of all the horns.
Mm-hmm.
The horns are very interesting, though.
Yeah. Very monstrous, very hellish, as they usually are. But, from the Boulets themselves assigning the challenge, aside from the mask that they wear at Neotropolis, they don't give a lot of cyber.
Oh my gosh.
Which,
well,
sorry, but...
They're the judges. They don't have to.
I think that those who enforce the law must obey the law.
Oh
so
gosh.
If you're assigning a challenge, you got to play the part yourself. And hot take, I'm talking about the hosts of the hosts of the show themselves, but people play by example.
I guess so. I still liked it.
I like their looks for sure, but it would be fun if they did their own thing because they did this. They did very well for season 6 with their black and white looks. They did the skull prosthetics, and I think that was, the best showcase of the Boulets participating in this challenge, even as judges.
I'm not too bothered by it. I think they look really good. I think that are there ways they could have made it more cyber? Sure. But I think it's kind of funny because they're making the rules, but it's their show. They don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, they've brought back the first 2 competitors to go home again, meaning that this season is going to be very long.
Messy and long with twists and turns. I'm very hopeful that the twists and turns will definitely not be foreseen, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Originally, I already felt that this season was going to be very long with having 14 competitors, the biggest cast we've had so far. But now we're bringing back dead people.
I'm wondering if along the way, because there are 14 competitors, right? And I don't know.
Double eliminations?
Yeah, of having multiple people go in one episode. Because I'm not sure if they're having more episodes this season or same length episodes as when they've had the more recent Dragula not Titans seasons. But I'm very interested to see if it'll be far more cutthroat than in the past.
I would love to see a double elimination where both people up on the Circus of Souls go. I would like to see.
It would be
very fun and exciting to see both competitors go home at the same time because, to people who don't think about it this much, it'd be very unexpected.
Yes.
But I think it would raise the stakes of this whole competition.
Yeah. I'm very excited for the next episode. If you liked this podcast and you liked how much better our audio was this time,
We got a new microphone and a better mic stand. We have a pop filter now, so hopefully you don't hear whenever we pop.
Mm-hmm. Whenever I'm spitting on the mic. There will be a lack of spit instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, that's about it for today's episode of the Dissection Theater.
I actually did have a last minute thing before I forget of, I really liked how they had that rug talking.
Yes.
Which made me think specifically, of Christine McConnell, because I know that Drake Morta specifically is a fan of her work. And so I'm hoping as the season goes on, we might even get more puppets and stuff like that, because I think that'd be very fun. And I hope eventually they maybe add more skits that they're part of, because part of the early days of the seasons, those skits that they had, I would say specifically with like season 4, were very fun.
Mm-hmm. And even in season 6 with Yuri's elimination.
Oh, Yuri's elimination.
That whole sort of like 5-minute montage of Yuri trying to make her way back to New Zealand.
Yeah. You can go home, Yuri. That's just a thing we do for the...
That's all for show.
Yeah.
You're perfectly safe to go.
La 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 la.
I have my whole life ahead of me. I think it would definitely be fun if they keep up the hokey aspect of this haunted house where different parts of the house, different things, different furniture talks.
Different furniture, maybe like showing more rooms. And I'm very much liking the way that I feel like they've found their niche and what they want to show as a setting around them being like Victorian era sort of furniture. Very cool. Very fun.
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it for today's episode of Dissection Theater. This has been Seam Stress.
This has been SeraphHim.
Thank you for joining us once again. If you liked, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment of your opinions on whatever we've said. Be nice.
Yes.
We're watching.
Be nice and don't bully people from the show or be mean to them or dox them, because I don't think that you're a responsible fan if you do shit like that. This is supposed to be fun. This is supposed to be our gay, messy fun.
Yeah.
So.
Be courteous about enjoying the gay, messy fun.
Yes.
Join us again next week, someday, whenever we choose to upload.
Yes.
For episode 3 of Dragula Titans Season 2.
I am trying to make it a typical thing where we will upload every Monday, kind of like the same day as the new drag episode comes out. We will be reviewing the prior episode, so as to avoid any sort of like spoilers coming out before people got a chance to watch the episode.
So if a new episode is out, you've had enough time to watch the last one and then listen to our podcast.
Yeah. I love you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Stay safe out there.